Donnie and Dolly. The team is supported by ableauctions.ca. Closing your business? We can help.
Was that on the air? Okay. Whew. Lucky us. All of our guests today on this show Monday are brought to you. I'm sure Elliotte can relate to that. They make the odd mistake on Hockey Night in Canada, not like us. All of our guests today, including Elliotte, brought to you by Basant Motors. Ready to find your next vehicle? Visit Basant Motors today to experience the difference for yourself. The friendly team looks forward to helping you drive home in the perfect vehicle for your needs and budget. Getting to your destination starts with us. Learn more at Basant Motors, BASANT Motors.com. As we bring in from Hockey Night in Canada and the 32 Thoughts podcast, Elliotte Friedman. Elliotte, thanks for doing this, sir. How are you?
My pleasure, boys. And good. How are you guys doing?
Oh, really well.
Well, we almost got fired.
Yeah.
but we managed to escape that.
Yeah.
We almost
What
made
happened?
Well, there was a graphic up that I thought was
me
on
and Craig
air.
Button?
Yeah, and there was it was.
Look, if you're going to confuse me with somebody else, do it with someone better looking, okay?
Oh! Hey, keep that. Clip it.
There's nobody better looking than you or Craig, Elliotte.
Clip it.
What's the biggest mistake? You don't make mistakes on the air.
Oh, I've made some of the biggest. Yeah,
No.
I've made some of the biggest. Everybody, as you know, Don and Rick, you go around this business long enough, you don't get out unscathed. So you just got to handle it, take it, put your big boy pants on, take it, and move on.
Oh, yeah.
My first moment on the air in Dawson Creek, I made a mistake, and I said the F word. I thought the mic was
Really?
Yeah. And it's been downhill from there. Let me tell you that. Hey, I heard you talk about this. What can you tell us about the impact, or what do you feel the impact of Tom Wilson and Arbor Jackeye has been on that Capitals Habs series for people who thought physicality was a thing of the past in pro hockey?
Well, I really do believe that there's no sport that changes more regular season of playoffs than hockey does. And people blame it on the refereeing, and hey, if you want to do that, no problem. But I think it's the players. I think it comes down to you cannot play 82 games in the regular season like you have to play 28 in the playoffs. It's too hard. It's too destructive on your body. You can't do it. And so there are things that players will do to themselves and to each other in the playoffs that they will not do in the regular season, and that switch flips. And everybody plays hard, everybody forechecks, everybody competes. Kevin did a great highlight last week of how we talk about don't let your opponent gain the blue line. Well, now in the playoffs, you don't even let them gain the red line. Like the stuff that happens on the red line, it's fierce. And I think, first of all, that game 3 Montreal-Washington may have been the best game of the season, like just for the pure drama of it and everything that happened. But when Jackeye came in there to join Anderson, like a lot of those Montreal guys gained about 6 inches and 50 pounds. And they were doing stuff to Wilson, like Demidov sleeve-footed him. Matheson and Dvorak had that one play where they both hit him. And as Kevin said, you're not doing that to that guy in the regular season. But I think the thing last night, like that was not a dirty hit. That was not a penalty. It was vicious. It was nasty, but it was not. It was fair. And the thing about this is you guys know, you guys are my age. We grew up. There were 5 Tom Wilsons on every team.
Yeah.
Now there's not even 5 in the league.
Yeah.
And I just think Carrier, like he wasn't expecting to get hit like that. He was not expecting it. And in the playoffs, like you've always got to know when Tom Wilson's on the ice. But in the playoffs, you've got to understand that even people who wouldn't hit you in the regular season, they're going to hit you now. And I think that, with Wilson, that goes triple. And there was nothing wrong with that play. He made a great play, and it's the biggest play of that series so far, because I really thought Montreal was going to steal that game last night.
Well, we'll talk more about the playoffs, but news this morning about Mike Sullivan leaving the Pittsburgh Penguins organization. Mutual decision from all reports. Is he going to get back in the game quickly? Because you know what it's like here in Vancouver, Elliotte. Everybody connecting the dots. Rick Tocchet leaves. Maybe Mike Sullivan, involved with the Pittsburgh organization, will move to Vancouver.
I don't think that's going to happen, but I'll say this, that I know Jim Rutherford thinks very highly of Mike Sullivan, and that Jim would gladly get into his Basant Motors vehicle and drive Mike Sullivan to Vancouver if that something like that was to occur. I really believe this, that in 2021, when Chris Drury was hired as general manager of the New York Rangers, there's nobody he wanted more than Mike Sullivan. And at that time, there had been rumors that maybe Sullivan wouldn't stay in Pittsburgh, that the two sides were going to move on. And he eventually hired Gerard Gallant, but he didn't make that hire until he knew Sullivan was staying. And so, to me, with the Rangers being in a really tough spot after a very bad year and making another coaching change, I would be shocked if they didn't do everything in their power to make Mike Sullivan the next head coach of the New York Rangers. So until somebody beats the Rangers out for Sullivan's services, that's who I'm picking. I would absolutely believe that Jim Rutherford would be interested in Sullivan. I think if he has to make a coaching change or Rick Tocchet decides he doesn't want to be back, then I think he makes a call and at least gauges his interest. But I look at this situation, and like I said, as we sit here today on Monday morning, Vancouver time, I don't think the Rangers can allow themselves to lose this.
Hey, where are the talks in Vancouver, Elliotte? What's your sense? You reported a couple of weeks ago that this decision should be soon after the season. We're 12 days. We're 12 days after. What's going on there? What's your gut feel about talking in Vancouver?
I think we're going to know soon. I don't know if it's going to be today, but I had some people say to me this morning, who knows? Today could be the day. But Rick, I knew I was coming on your show, and I made sure to make some texts. I actually did some homework before I came on, and as it stands right now, just about before I came on, there was no decision at this time. I think people are hoping it'll be done this week. As of Friday, and things can always change, but as of Friday, nobody had been given permission to talk to Tocchet. So he was not legally allowed to talk to other teams. I think you reported that Tocchet was back in town last week. I think there were some meetings with the Canucks on Friday and at the end of last weekend to talk about things. I think we're getting. This has taken a bit longer than I thought, I admit, but I think we're getting there, and I think we're going to get a decision one way or the other pretty soon.
What's your feel and gut? 7 openings after Pittsburgh, Elliotte. If Tocchet doesn't come back in Vancouver, this guy's going to land a job somewhere. There's going to be a lot. He's got to be on a lot of teams' radar, Elliotte.
He is. There's no question about that. I've still believed. Like I said, I think now that Sullivan's on the market, he's the Rangers' number one guy. I think Tocchet was a potential mix in New York, but I think Sullivan rockets to the top of their list. I really do think I really do think if he's coaching next year, the most likely outcomes are Vancouver and Philadelphia, and we'll see where it goes. I think in Vancouver, part of it is contract. I think part of it is, I mentioned on the pod today, I went back and I listened to Rutherford, and he talked quite a bit about the practice facility. Oh, yeah. And initially I kind of glossed over it because, I'm not there like you guys are. Sometimes I don't. Sometimes I look at things like that and I say, I don't know if that's, so much something I have to worry about. Well, someone said to me that there was a reason that Rutherford talked about that quite a bit, and it's because Tocchet's brought it up. So I think contract is a big one, but I think also practice facility, Quinn Hughes' future direction. But to me, I've always believed that can they agree on a contract and can they get the practice facility done? What's Quinn Hughes thinking? Yep. And I think it all kind of morphs from there. But like I said, Rick, I think we're getting close. And like I said, I think it's. My bet is if he's coaching next year, it's either in Vancouver or Philadelphia.
Okay. Elliotte, Connor Hellebuyck, what is it about him and playoff pressure going back to last year?
Ooh, that's a great question. Don, I thought Scott Arniel really did a nice job yesterday trying to take some of the pressure off Hellebuyck, talking about the deflected goals and the screens and things like that. I will say, watching that game, the goals that concerned me were the third one, the Braden Shen one, and the fifth one, the Rob Thomas one, because we saw him kind of lose one-on-one battles like we hadn't seen him lose all year. I always believe you can rewrite your narrative. I always believe you can change things. It's like Don, like you talked about before, like broadcasters, we go on air, we make mistakes. I've made some pretty big ones. You use up your bank of credibility when that happens, but you can always rebuild it, right? You can always change your process. You can always change the way you approach things. Like, I think Connor Hellebuyck's got to get on the ice and practice and work on his positioning and battle. And I think you can always change your narrative, but there's no question there. Like, I think that building, they play Game 5 on Wednesday. I think that's going to be a really nervous building. Even though it's going to be the whiteout and they're going to be on fire, I think the way the Jets come out at the beginning of Game 5 and the way that crowd comes out at the beginning of Game 5 is going to be very telling.
And Elliotte, all of us watch Hockey Night in Canada on a regular basis, but I'll refer to something you talked about again last night. LA has held the lead for so much of the series against Edmonton. What can they do to nail this thing down?
I think the difference with this team this year for the Kings is they can score. They've got 19 goals in 4 games. In the 3 previous series they played against Edmonton, the most they ever scored was 20, and that was in the 7-gamer that they lost a few years ago. So I think the difference this year is the Kings can actually score with the Oilers. And if you look at the first 2 periods of every game, the Kings have won them almost every game. And the Oilers, we go into the 3rd period, last night, the overtime, and the Oilers just take over. And one of the things that happened last night was the Kings were really down to 9 forwards and 4 defensemen, and they got exhausted. I understand that you want to depend on certain guys and you feel your rosters with certain strengths, but it happened in Minnesota too against Vegas. Your guys burn out, and I think it's tough. Like the Kings in the 3rd period, they seem to go into the defensive shell a bit. You got to attack. They can score, and I would, if I was to change anything for LA, I would be like, I want us being aggressive in the 3rd period. They're dominating Edmonton by being aggressive.
Yeah, and again, you brought that up yesterday. And by the way, Derek Lalonde is doing a great job for you.
He's great.
He's just tremendous. Looking at things from a coach's point of view, just absolutely fabulous. Elliotte, thanks for this. Love the work you're doing, and we'll talk to you in a couple of weeks.
Yep.
The only thing I don't like about Derek is he makes me look even dumber. That's just the problem.
Well,
I feel the same way about Rick.
Yeah. Hey, stop laughing. Stop laughing.
Thanks, Elliotte. I appreciate it.
Later.